This is big, scary news, probably the biggest news story of the last 80 years, but it's not being reported on mainstream media or very, very little because it's not good news for the United States. I don't like it. If you're an American citizen, you won't like it either, but it's the reality of what's going on, and it's a good reality for those of us who protect ourselves with precious metals, silver and gold. They've stood the test of time. So when this blows up, as it continues to develop, we're going to be okay. What am I talking about, you might ask? De-dollarization. The world is moving at an ever fascinating pace to move away from the U.S. dollar. Remember a few months ago when our president, Joe Biden, went to Saudi Arabia? It was before the midterm elections. He was trying to force them to pump a little extra oil to bring oil prices down so gasoline prices would be better right before the midterm elections. They snubbed him. They ignored him. It was an embarrassment for the United States. But in a sign of what is going on in the world, shockingly, 2 weeks later, President Xi from China shows up in Saudi Arabia. They rolled out the red carpet. They had fighter jets flying over with the colors of the Chinese flag coming out in smoke. They had horse cavalry coming through. They were all lovey and kissy with the Chinese. The world is changing very fast. It's going to mean the dollar comes under huge pressure. That means silver and gold do very well. But let's talk about some even more recent developments going on within this de-dollarization trend that will make your skin crawl as a U.S. citizen. Look, these subjects, they're not real pleasant to talk about, but we don't want to stick our head in the sand. We want to deal with reality. We want to deal with what's really going on in the world because it is scary. And we want to be prepared. We want to be protected. And you might just learn something today here in the basement with me. By the way, I appreciate you being here. You really are the most important part. You're special, you're unique, and you've made the decision, yes, you, to join me from somewhere in the world. Thank you so much. It really helps the channel and helps get the word out. If you're subscribed, turn on the little ring-a-ling-ding-a-ling bell, and please give this video a thumbs up. But we're going to learn today about the SWIFT system. Are you familiar with that? Don't worry, it's nothing real complicated. It's basically a system used for interbank communications. It's a Western United States dominated system that we've used to control the flow of dollars throughout the world. Well, guess what? More and more countries are abandoning the SWIFT system. Probably companies too, but nonetheless, countries around the world abandoning the SWIFT system. And that's bad news for the United States and the US dollar. Some people are estimating that right now, half of the world's population has moved off the SWIFT system. And we've got some recent news we're going to talk about that addresses exactly that right now. The Asian Clearing Union. You've probably never heard of it. I'll be honest with you. I've never heard of it until this morning. But if you dig into that, that's a new financial clearing system similar to SWIFT. And guess who backs it? Iran. And we're hearing that there are now 11 new countries joining that system. Countries like India, Pakistan, Nepal. And on top of that, right, on top of that new system that's being run by Iran, we know that China's developing their own system. We know Russia's been kicked off the SWIFT system for a long time now. We know that China and Brazil, India and Russia, all these countries are developing their own systems that will facilitate them doing trade outside of the US dollar and outside of the SWIFT system. And as the dollar gets used less and less, the value of the dollar becomes, yes, less and less. That's good for the value of silver, the value of gold, the value of platinum and palladium for that matter. On top of that, let's consider two more fascinating facts that are developing right now. This summer, August 22nd, the BRICS countries are having their official meeting. There's already been so much going on. We know the BRICS are exploding. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, throw in Saudi Arabia, throw in Argentina, throw in about 20 other countries, all of which are explicitly saying they want to move away from the dollar and develop a new universal reserve currency that they can use to trade amongst themselves. And there is great speculation, some might say even proof, that they'll back this new reserve currency with, yes, you got it, gold, because that's what's always worked in the past. It's the most common denominator between all those countries. Now, it gets even crazier if you consider all of that going on. Half the world doesn't like the United States. We're going to touch on that in 1 second. But while all that's going on, here in the West, we're in such horrible shape, right? Our debt situation in the United States, our economic situation in the United States, our political situation in the United States. The United States and the West are already suffering, but at this point, all these other countries, half the people in the world are saying bye-bye to the US dollar. And, can we really blame them, or can we have some empathy with them and behind their reasoning for doing what they're doing? The United States, it's generally accepted, right? Look, I didn't do it, you didn't do it, but we've been a little bit of a bully, for lack of a better term, around the world. Weaponizing the dollar, using the dollar in ways that a lot of these other countries didn't really appreciate. And it feels like now they're all kind of saying, hey, enough is enough, and we're getting away from the dollar. That only spells one thing. That spells potential economic hardship in the United States, guys. Things could get very, very difficult. It spells a lower U.S. dollar, and that spells higher value for silver and gold. We'll ride it out. It's going to be interesting. We're not going to keep our heads in the sand, right? We want to be prepared, and together we can do that. Come back to the basement, and for now, why don't you consider going to watch a live stream? Hey everybody, it's Ron from Ron's Basement, live on the log flume with Lily. Lily, say hi.
Hi.